This is what I'm feeling like. Da, 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 da. Let me tell you what I'm feeling like. Da, 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 da.
Yo, what up, though, people? I'd like to welcome you back to the Keep It a C-Note podcast. As always, I am your boy, Brown. This is the first episode of 2024. We got a lot to talk about. Shout out to everybody that's tuned in. This your first time tuning in. Salute to you. Please do me a favor. Make sure you hit the sub button. Everybody that's tuned in, hit the like button and the bell so you can stay notified when we drop new content. Don't be afraid to leave a comment. If you agree with something, you disagree with something, you want to correct me on something, or if you just want to call me a Oouuber, let me know in the comments. Just make sure you keep it a C-Note. And please share this video with someone that likes to talk sports and entertainment just like you, so that we can all talk that talk together. Funniest thing I've seen all weekend has to be the NBA with this 65-game rule. Players must play in 65 regular season games in order to qualify for in-season awards such as MVPs. To make all NBA teams and all defensive teams, you got to play 65 games. And most importantly, if you're trying to get a Supermax contract or any of them big contracts, you got to play in at least 65 games. We recently had Joel Embiid defending MVP from the Philadelphia Sixers. He was injured. He has a displaced flap of the meniscus in his left knee. The Sixers are trying to see should they rehab him with rest or a procedure. You got NBA players complaining about the 65-game rule. You got analysts talking about it. Here's the thing. First of all, with Joel Embiid is in the situation that he's in right now because he tried to play hurt. Why? Because he's chasing the wrong trophy. He's more concerned with winning a back-to-back MVP than he is with winning the NBA Finals. And before y'all say I'm wrong, the proof is in the pudding. If that man knows he was hurt, why would he play in a game? Why? Because he's almost at that threshold where he's going to miss them 65 games and wouldn't have been eligible for back-to-back MVP years in a year where he's having an MVP season, put up 70 and everything, right? So he's chasing another MVP. He could have sat out. If the goal is winning an NBA title, he could have sat out. I'm not ready to play. Everybody is putting the blame on this rule, and they're putting the blame on the coach and all that. When are we going to put the blame on Joel Embiid? When is Joel Embiid going to come into a season where he's in shape? How many years has he been in the league now? How many years has he been in shape? This isn't a Nick Nurse issue. This isn't a 65-game rule issue. This is him having a problem where he can't leave them snacks alone. I'm just keeping it a C-Note. We got to look at it and see it is what it is. I mean, you guys are getting paid millions of dollars, and they just put it in a contract. Out of this season, your year of work, you can't miss more than 17 days. What's the problem with that? You got people playing hard money, want to come see people play, probably spending their last dollars, and then these guys are sitting out. Kawhi Leonard is the poster boy, the face of load management. If Kawhi Leonard can play, he's only missed about 4 or 5 games. If he can do it, anyone can do it. This NBA has gotten soft. Pause. These guys don't play in back-to-backs. They don't practice. You blow on them too hard, pause, and they're hurt. And we got to relax, and we got to stop making excuses for Joel Embiid. It's got to be a point in time where he has to come into the NBA season in shape. And I see they got him listed as like 280, 285, and it's been listed at that for some years. I think he's a little bit more than that. But if he is in the 280, 285 range, he might got to come down to 260, 265. Because right now, whatever Joel Embiid is doing or hasn't been doing isn't working for him. I'm just keeping it a C note. What's your thoughts on it, though? Y'all cool with the NBA having this 65-game rule? Yes, no, keep it a C note, let me know. The NBA recently revealed the reserves for the All Star game. And I must say, it looks like this 65 thing is a thing. You start in the Western Conference because every year around this time, we're talking about who got snubbed. If we start in the Western Conference, I'm going De'Aaron Fox, Sacramento Kings. The Kings are currently the 5th seed in the Western Conference. De'Aaron Fox is the best player on that team. He averages 27, 5, and 4, and he didn't make the All-Star game. Then you got his running mate, Domantas Sabonis. He's averaging 19.9 points a game, 13 rebounds, 8 assists. That's damn near triple-double, and this guy is not an all-star. But then you go to the Lakers. You got Anthony Davis. They're currently the 9th seed. Anthony Davis is averaging 24 points a game. He's the second best player on his team or the second option. And he makes the all-star game. Now, Anthony Davis is having a good year. Anthony Davis definitely gets busy, but they're the 9th seed. What are we giving the Lakers 2 All-Stars for? Are we rewarding Anthony Davis because he hasn't missed as many games as he usually does in the NBA season around this time of the year? Are we rewarding Anthony Davis still because they won this in-season tournament? Or lastly, are we rewarding Anthony Davis because the NBA has a lack of big men in the league? Pause. I don't know if you guys realize it, but it's only about 5, 6 big men in the league. Pause. I'm talking about the star players. The power forward, the center, it looks like it's on the verge of extinction. The guys that make the All-Star game every year, the Bam Adebayos, or damn near every year, Bam Adebayo, Jokic, Giannis, Embiid. I might be forgetting one or two. That's basically all you got. Karl Anthony Towns. You got about 6, 7 legit big men. The rest of those guys is just fill-in players. That position is going extinct. But Anthony Davis respectfully should not have been an All-Star. And even with the Clippers, I get it. They're a top 3 seed in the Western Conference. But they shouldn't have 2 All-Stars in the All-Star game. I'm just keeping it a C note. Paul George and Kawhi Leonard are also benefiting because of this 65-game rule. These guys are normally hurt around this time of the year or just not playing. And being as though they've been playing games, it's like the coaches gave them an extra credit and threw them on the All-Star roster. James Harden has just as much to do with those guys being the top 3 seed as Kawhi and Paul George. I'm just keeping it a C note, saying it respectfully. I don't mind if you had one of those guys, but I don't think both of those guys should have been reserves for the Western Conference. I'm just keeping it a C note. Eastern Conference is a lot of talk. Trae Young should have made it. Trae Young. I think he's averaging 27 and like 12, 13. It'll be on the screen. But they got a losing record. They're like 4 or 5 games below 500. So I'm cool with Trae Young not making the All-Star team. I'm looking at the roster for the bench. I'm actually cool with those reserves. Now, I know that the fans get to vote on the starters. My one issue that I would have with the Eastern Conference is Damian Lillard shouldn't be starting over Tyrese Maxey. Damian Lillard, yes, he's a better player. He's had a better career. But this year, Tyrese Maxey has been better than Damian Lillard. And he should be the starter. I'm just keeping it a C note. What's your thoughts, though? Any snubs in the Eastern Conference? Who you got? Who missed the All-Star? Who should have made the All-Star team? Keep it a C note. Let me know. How about this funny movie? Doc Rivers, who's only coached a handful of games for the Milwaukee Bucks, will be coaching the Eastern Conference in the All-Star game. Basically because the Celtics coached last year. Celtics got the best record again, and he can't coach again. Next best team would be Milwaukee. So Doc Rivers coached a handful of games, and he will coach the Eastern Conference All-Stars. What a joke. What a joke. I'm just keeping it a C note. Trade deadline coming up in the NBA. The Golden State Warriors say they won't move their core players from the championship run. Draymond, Clay, Steph will stay intact. What's your thoughts on it, people? Keep it a C note. Me personally, I say that the Warriors, they're crazy. It's definitely time to break them up. Klay Thompson is done. I'm not saying Klay can't have nights where he goes out and get busy, but Klay Thompson on a consistent basis, he's just not it no more. Draymond is more known for the antics now than hooping, and don't get me wrong, they may have streaks during this season where they play good and all of that, but they don't have nothing to compete with nobody. You got Steph Curry, the lone guy who's still in his prime, still getting busy. And you're about to let his talents, just sit and rot with these guys. It doesn't mesh. You know what I mean? Andrew Wiggins, a lot of people have said stuff about Andrew Wiggins. What happened to this guy? He was just playing good 2 years ago. I think part of what Andrew Wiggins is going through is Jordan Poole. If you remember that year they won the championship, it's like him and Jordan Poole, to me, it seems like they was homies. Like, remember, you about to get that bag. And the one homie that Wiggins had that it looked like he was really close to got traded. And now it's just the old heads and the young boys is kind of alienated. You wasted everything to get Chris Paul, which wasn't needed, and Chris Paul is where he's usually at around this time of the year hurt. I think Golden State Warriors don't got nothing coming to them, pause. Maybe a playing game. And it's gotten to the point where I guess playing games is cool for certain teams, or you know what I mean? If you make it to the playing game, because it's like now even fans hold that. Well, they made it to the playing game. Stop it, please. We got the Super Bowl coming up this week. Shout out to Vito. Shout out to my guy, Sheed. Them a couple Niners fans that I know. They're hype. Shout out to all my Kansas City Chiefs fans. I want to ask y'all a couple questions, right? First of all, let's go Kansas City. Andy Reid, what's this, like the fourth Super Bowl with Kansas City now? 2-1 in Super Bowls. He's had Patrick Mahomes all these Super Bowls. I don't know, it'll be on the screen. I don't know if he made championship games with Kansas City before Patrick Mahomes. But I know with the Eagles, he made a Super Bowl. He was playing in the NFC Championship every year. Has Andy Reid done enough, shown you enough on what he's done with two different organizations, to pass Bill Belichick? And when I say that, I know Bill Belichick got more rings, but when you look at Bill Belichick, without Patrick Mahomes, without Tom Brady, and you judge him on them couple years, then you judge Andy Reid. I think Andy Reid is right there with Belichick, if not better. What he's done this year with this team, I would salute him. I would commend him. Doesn't have the best receivers. We didn't really know about the defense until the year started. So I don't know, but I got Andy Reid over Bill Belichick. I've already had him there for some time. But I got Andy Reid over Bill Belichick. I think he's really, the only thing he's missing is a Tom Brady, a good quarterback. He was getting to the NFC Championship game every year with Donovan McNabb. And Donovan McNabb is the captain of throwing the football at your feet. So I don't know if we should give Andy Reid a little bit more credit, but y'all let me know in the comments. Let me ask you this though. I've recently seen a stat, and it will be on the screen. Compare Tom Brady's numbers to Mahomes' numbers. Now I've heard it for years. I've even said it myself. Tom Brady, he benefited from playing in a weak AFC East. Patrick Mahomes currently, right now, think he had, you'll see it on the screen, 87 career wins. 30-5 versus the AFC West. Is Patrick Mahomes benefiting from the same thing Tom Brady benefited from? Is Mahomes benefiting from playing in a weak division? Yes, no. Keep it a C, no, let me know. And listen, I've had the conversation with Vito, and I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, the quarterback play is way better in the AFC West, but what else do you have? Denver has been trash since Peyton Manning left. The Chargers, they last good year was when they had Phillip Rivers, and whenever they make the playoffs, they're one and done. And then you got Vegas. 1 year they're so-so, 1 year they're okay. What I told Vito, right, is because the quarterbacks is better. You got Herbert, you got the names, but the teams aren't better in the AFC West. What I told Vito is I know the AFC East didn't have the quarterbacks. Tom Brady got over them, but those teams were way more competitive. They had better running backs. Most of them teams had better defenses. I will say this, Patrick Mahomes, since he's been a starter in the NFL, none of the teams in the AFC West have been better than that Jets team that had Mark Sanchez as quarterback with Darrelle Revis and Cromartie and those guys on defense. And that team was really a defensive team. They didn't really have no offensive power. But none of these teams that Mahomes is playing against, I don't think is better than that team. And I know that team might have had a 1 year, 2 year run, but what I'm saying is name me one good team in the AFC West Mahomes has played against 2 times a year since he's become the starter. Keep it a C note, let me know. Because I'm getting a feeling that he's benefiting off a weak division. Now, don't get me wrong, because even with Brady, you still got to get in the playoffs and win them games, so he has been doing that. But all of this is first season where he had to go into the playoffs and play on the road and all of that. Why? Because usually he's beating down his division. He's just getting over on it. So I do think that that's the case. He's benefiting from a weak division. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Should you call me a Uber? Keep it a C note, let me know. San Francisco 49ers. Now, there's been a all year for the last couple years about the NFL was rigged. We had these logo conspiracies and all of that. And I know the NFL has been baiting people in by doing this. Because if we see it, everybody that runs the NFL sees it. But here's my thing with San Fran in the Super Bowl, and it is a rerun of Mahomes winning his first Super Bowl 4 years ago. What I've told people, and they've laughed at me, is what San Francisco has on their side is Christian McCaffrey. You might as well, and I don't want to make this a racial thing, but Christian McCaffrey is the great white hope. When you look at football, he's the only person with white skin in football right now that is the best player, hands down, at his position. Pause. I don't care if you try to talk about Bosa or TJ Watt. For every one of them guys is going to be a guy like Micah Parsons or Myles Garrett. So it's going to be there. With the wide receivers, we already know nobody is going to put Cooper Kupp up there as a top receiver. The only position, pause, and I'm not talking about O-line and all of that. I'm not counting that. The only skill position where a person of white skin is hands down the best player at that position is the running back. And if football is rigged, I'm not going off any color scheme but that color scheme, and I would say San Fran, that would be their ace in the hole. Pause. Because even when I didn't think they would make the playoffs, what I was telling John and cousin Reek is what I'm telling you guys right now. The only thing that scares me about San Fran is Christian McCaffrey is the great white hope for them. What's your thoughts on it? Do you agree with me? Should you call me an Oouuber? Keep it a C note. Let me know. Well, let's talk Super Bowl. Who y'all got winning the Super Bowl this year? We got the Kansas City Chiefs. We got the San Francisco 49ers. We got the Swifties, Taylor Swift and all of that, versus Christian McCaffrey and the boys. Who you got? I tell you one thing, if football isn't rigged, the 49ers will win this game easily. But being as though I don't know if football is really legit or not because I see too many shaky things, I'm going Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm just keeping it a C note. But again, who do you got? Kansas City Chiefs, San Francisco 49ers. The Super Bowl is amongst us. Keep it a C note. Let me know who you got. Before we get out of here, I just seen something. Suge Knight. Shout out Suge Knight. He has a podcast from jail. And this podcast, it seems like every week it has everybody in an uproar. He recently said guys was hating on Tupac when Tupac came to Deathrow. Daz came out and said some things where he kind of made it seem, well, he didn't make it seem. He said that they made Tupac. He said Deathrow made Tupac. I want to know what's your thoughts on Daz's comments. Y'all agree with him? Should we call Daz a Oouuber? Keep it a C note, let me know. I don't know what Daz is smoking on. I know they be having, I think they got the Kush, or maybe he got the moon rocks from Corrupt. I don't know what's going on with Daz, but there's no way you made Pac when Pac was already a superstar before he came to Deathrow. And one line that I think Jadakiss said it. It's one of the Locks guys, but I believe it's Jadakiss. He said controversy sells, so it ain't like death. So when we be having these conversations, I be trying to tell my folks, like, a lot of that stuff gets intensified because of death and circumstances. Okay, Pac might have sold the most he's ever sold on Death Row. Well, you got to look at it. Pac was coming out of jail, fresh out of jail from being shot. Everybody wanted to know. There was no social media back then. Everybody wanted to know, was he going to say who shot him? Was he going to say any of that stuff in his record? So the record was going to sell no matter who he went to. You know what I mean? But Pac just made it 10 times better because he's a workaholic and he's an artist. He's an artiste. He can see things. But to say that y'all made him, y'all didn't. He already had Dear Mama out. He already had Brenda's Got a Baby, Keep Your Head Up. He had hits. He was already in movies. So to say you made Pac is, you really definitely need a Oouuber. This is just me from the outside looking in. We're not even Cali guys or none of that. We're just, as fans of music. Tupac was already getting spins before Deathrow. Most people, I'm one of the people to say Me Against the World may be his best album. That was before Deathrow. So I definitely disagree with Daz. But again, Daz from the Dog Pound says the Deathrow Made Tupac. What's your thoughts on that? Keep it a C note. Let me know. Definitely about to wrap this episode up. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. We are back 2024. Vito and John will be back in the building for the next episode. I just want to shout out everybody that's been rocking with us. And has continued to rock with us. Salute to y'all. Again, if this your first time tuning in, salute to you as well. Do me a favor, please hit the sub button. Everybody that's tuned in, hit the like button and the bell so you can stay notified when we drop new content. Don't be afraid to leave a comment if you agree with something, disagree, want to correct me on something, or if you just want to call me a Oouuber. You can let me know in the comments. Just make sure you keep it a C note. And please share this video with someone that likes to talk sports and entertainment just like you, so that we can all talk that talk together. As always, I am your boy Brown. Please tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell everybody. Keep it a C note. I'll holla at y'all.
This is what I'm feeling like. Da, 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 da. Let me tell you what I'm feeling like. Da, 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 da.